Every crown carries history, but not every wearer carries it the same way. Two women, two eras, one destiny, to define what it means to be queen. One ruled through silence, the other influences through presence. And together, they represent the shift of an entire monarchy, from tradition to transformation. When Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1953, she wasn't just becoming a monarch. She was stepping into a world trembling from war, holding an empire that was slowly breaking apart. At just 25, she had to learn what duty meant, and then live it for 70 years. Kate Middleton, decades later, was born into a different world. No empire, no wars defining nations, just a digital age where every move is captured, judged, and reshared within seconds. And yet, her journey too carries the same invisible weight, the expectation to represent the crown, but in a world that questions its relevance. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor never expected to be queen so soon. Her father, King George VI, had taken the throne unexpectedly after his brother's abdication. From childhood, Elizabeth understood that royalty wasn't about privilege, it was about restraint. She grew up under wartime blackouts, learned diplomacy before adulthood, and promised at 21, "My whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service." That vow would become her legacy, a queen who never ruled with speeches or displays, but through silence and steadiness. While leaders came and went, Elizabeth remained. Her strength was consistency, her language was composure, and her presence became the world's measure of duty. Catherine Elizabeth Middleton entered the royal story not by lineage, but by love. Born in 1982, she came from a middle-class family, educated, composed, and ordinary by royal standards. But her ordinariness became her strength. When she met Prince William at St. Andrews University, few imagined she would one day stand beside a future king. Yet from the beginning, Kate understood something vital. The monarchy's survival depended on connection, not just tradition. Unlike the young Elizabeth, whose image was sculpted by protocol, Kate's was shaped by media. She faced scrutiny not just from newspapers, but from millions of online voices dissecting her every gesture. Where Elizabeth ruled an empire, Kate must rule perception. To understand their contrast, you must understand their worlds. In the 1950s, the monarchy symbolized stability, the last thread connecting Britain to its imperial glory. Television was new, and the Queen's coronation became one of the first global media events. Elizabeth became a symbol, young, radiant, and unreachable. Today, the monarchy is no longer the symbol of power, it is the symbol of relevance. And in that arena, Kate Middleton stands as its strongest hope. She doesn't need to lead nations, she needs to lead narratives. Elizabeth's reign was about endurance. Kate's role is about evolution. One built an unshakable wall, the other must build bridges. Elizabeth's early years were defined by formality and distance. Public appearances were orchestrated, statements were measured, even emotions were edited out of royal films. And yet that formality created mystique, the very thing that held public respect for decades. Kate, on the other hand, is expected to be both royal and relatable. A mother of three, she's photographed dropping her children off at school, laughing openly at events, and speaking about mental health, topics once unspoken within the palace walls. The same monarchy that once taught distance now relies on connection. In Elizabeth's time, the crown ruled through power and perception of perfection. In Kate's, the crown must survive through authenticity. Since Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2022, the world has watched a new phase unfold, the reign of King Charles III. But beneath the surface, another story continues, the silent rise of the future queen. Kate is not queen yet, but her influence already shapes how people see the monarchy's tomorrow. She represents the bridge between royal hierarchy and modern humanity, between silk gloves and rolled sleeves, between private duty and public empathy, and that is the most delicate balance any royal has ever faced. Two women, born half a century apart, carrying the same title, but a different purpose. One preserved tradition, the other must translate it. And as history shifts, one question remains: can a future queen keep the monarchy alive in a world that no longer believes in crowns? Power changes shape over time. In Elizabeth's world, it wore velvet robes and spoke through formal speeches. In Kate's world, it wears a recycled dress and speaks through empathy. Yet both, in their own way, mastered one truth: the monarchy survives only when it serves. Queen Elizabeth II was never a political ruler. She was, however, a quiet force of diplomacy, the bridge between governments, nations, and eras. Over 7 decades, she met 15 British prime ministers, from Winston Churchill to Liz Truss. And though she never voted or publicly shared opinions, her weekly meetings with those leaders shaped the tone of the nation. She didn't lead through law, she led through presence. When she met leaders, there were no cameras capturing intimacy, just history unfolding behind closed doors. From Nelson Mandela to John F. Kennedy, from Pope John Paul II to Barack Obama, Elizabeth II was the one constant face in a changing world order. Her role wasn't to dominate, it was to endure, and that endurance earned her respect even from those outside the Commonwealth. She traveled to over 120 countries, more than any head of state in history, not to command, but to connect. Her mere presence could thaw tensions. She once danced with Ghana's President Kwame Nkrumah in 1961, silencing critics who feared the newly independent African nation might leave the Commonwealth. That dance became a symbol, proof that gestures could be more powerful than speeches. Kate Middleton, by contrast, entered public duty not as a figure of diplomacy, but as a modern symbol of empathy. Her global influence is not measured by treaties, but by conversations about motherhood, mental health, and children's well-being. Her work isn't behind palace walls, it's at the center of social change. In 2016, she co-founded Heads Together with Prince William and Prince Harry, a campaign that broke centuries of royal silence around mental health. The initiative encouraged open conversation, bringing mental well-being into mainstream dialogue across the United Kingdom. When Kate speaks about mental health today, it's not through scripts, it's through stories of mothers, teachers, and children she's met. She's visited hospitals, schools, and family centers, not as a distant royal, but as a relatable woman balancing motherhood with public life. Her Shaping Us campaign, launched in 2023, focuses on the critical early years of child development. Through research, films, and nationwide programs, she's reframing parenting as a cornerstone of future well-being. In an era of digital chaos, her message is simple: nurture the beginning and you change the ending. For Queen Elizabeth II, humanitarian work was about stability and symbolism. She rarely voiced opinions, yet she championed causes through her presence. Her patronages, over 600 organizations, ranged from wildlife conservation and military support to youth empowerment and culture. Each appearance was carefully planned, each speech carefully worded. The world saw a monarch beyond politics, embodying service through discipline. Her annual Christmas broadcasts, watched by millions across continents, were more than tradition. They were lessons in resilience. Through wars, recessions, and royal scandals, she reminded her nation to stand steady. Her 2020 address during the COVID-19 pandemic was one of her most watched messages ever. Calm, brief, and filled with assurance. Her words, "We will meet again," echoed a wartime promise that comforted a digital generation. Elizabeth's greatest act of service was constancy. Kate's is connection. And both are expressions of leadership in their own time. In public, Kate's composure mirrors Elizabeth's discipline, yet her method is distinctly modern. Where Elizabeth's handshakes were symbols of formality, Kate's hugs are symbols of humanity. She often repeats outfits, supports sustainable fashion, and uses visibility to promote British designers. Even her small choices, like walking her children to school or sharing unretouched family photos, redefine royal relatability. Unlike the 1950s, today's world demands transparency. Every gesture is dissected, every statement scrutinized. Yet Kate navigates it with balance, regal enough to uphold the crown, relatable enough to remain human. Her speeches, though few, carry sincerity rather than spectacle. She doesn't command headlines, she shapes them quietly, through consistency. Behind the poise, there's calculation, not for vanity but for vision. She understands that in the social media age, Royalty must be seen as service, not superiority. Elizabeth II's reign created a global image of reliability. When she visited countries like Canada, India, or Australia, she wasn't introducing herself. She was reminding them of their shared history. Her tours were strategic, strengthening the Commonwealth and protecting Britain's soft power. She symbolized continuity in a world of change. Kate's travels serve a different mission, not to maintain unity but to inspire relevance. Her visits highlight community programs, climate initiatives, and youth innovation. Where Elizabeth represented the institution, Kate represents its evolution. She is turning the crown from a symbol of hierarchy into a platform for humanity. Her modern diplomacy lies in emotional intelligence. She's not speaking to prime ministers, she's speaking to people. And that's where the future of monarchy now rests. Elizabeth built the foundation, the idea that monarchy survives through purpose, not power. Kate is translating that idea for the 21st century, proving that purpose must be seen, felt, and shared. The Queen shaped her reign by keeping her emotions private. Kate is shaping hers by showing that empathy is strength. Both approaches carry risk. Too much silence and the monarchy seems detached. Too much openness and it risks losing mystique. Balancing those extremes will define Kate's path as future queen. The monarchy's next chapter depends not on royal bloodlines, but on public connection. And if Elizabeth's strength was endurance, Kate's must be engagement. Two women standing on the same balcony, one looking back at tradition, the other facing forward into transformation. Different in method, united in mission. Elizabeth built the crown's credibility. Kate must now build its continuity. But as the public grows more skeptical, one question grows louder. Can the next generation keep the monarchy relevant without losing the magic that made it royal? Every crown carries two weights, the one the world sees and the one only the heart feels. Behind royal smiles lie ordinary struggles, family, love, loss, and the pressure to stay perfect. Queen Elizabeth II mastered the art of silence. Kate Middleton is mastering the art of sincerity, and between them lies the story of how personal life became the monarchy's greatest test. Elizabeth's life was marked by self-control, not as a choice, but as a rule. She was taught that emotion weakens command. The public was to see a queen, not a woman. Even in moments of personal pain, her face never changed. When her father, King George VI, died in 1952, she was abroad in Kenya. She returned home not as a daughter in mourning, but as a queen ascending. Duty had arrived before grief. Her life became a performance of restraint, a discipline that defined her for decades. Family for Elizabeth was never fully private. Her marriage to Prince Philip was one of endurance rather than display. While the world speculated about distance, she remained unwavering in loyalty. They were opposites. She, reserved and structured, he, outspoken and restless, yet their partnership became the monarchy's anchor. When Philip died in 2021, after more than 7 decades together, she sat alone at his funeral, masked and silent, an image that captured both her loneliness and her strength. Her children, too, tested the limits of royal privacy. From Princess Anne's divorce to Prince Charles's troubled marriage with Diana, Elizabeth faced public storms that no monarch before her had known. Yet through every scandal, she said little and stood still. Her silence became her strategy. In the modern world of headlines and heartbreak, she chose dignity over defense. Kate's path is different because her world demands openness. She can't hide behind palace gates. Her life unfolds under digital microscopes. Every gesture, outfit, or expression becomes a viral post. But instead of running from visibility, she's learned to redefine it. Her marriage to Prince William has become the monarchy as symbol of balance. Love wrapped in duty, modern yet mindful of heritage. They project stability without stiffness. Their shared glances at events, playful moments with their children, and willingness to show emotion contrast sharply with the old royal image of distance. Kate's parenting approach has reshaped how the public views the royal family. She's not just raising heirs, she's raising individuals. Her children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, are seen laughing, playing, and sometimes misbehaving at public events, reminders that even royal children are still children. That relatability has humanized the monarchy in ways unseen since Diana's era. But openness comes at a cost. Critics dissect her every move, her silence during controversies, her handling of media, even her health. And yet, she never loses composure. Like Elizabeth, she remains calm, but unlike Elizabeth, she connects through honesty. When she speaks about the challenges of motherhood, the world listens, not because she's royal, but because she's real. Elizabeth led through distance. Kate leads through dialogue. Elizabeth believed that power demands mystery. Kate believes that influence demands empathy. For Elizabeth, leadership meant separation, maintaining an aura above politics, emotion, or personal commentary. Her message was, "The crown does not bend." It was this consistency that earned her global admiration. She was a symbol of duty, timeless, dependable, and above all, neutral. Kate, however, faces a world allergic to distance. Her leadership style mirrors the generation she represents, one that values vulnerability over perfection. She speaks softly, smiles often, and listens more than she lectures. In a time when authenticity defines power, her warmth becomes her credibility. And yet the essence of leadership remains the same: responsibility before self. Elizabeth and Kate may express it differently, but both understand that royalty is less about privilege and more about pressure. No comparison between Elizabeth and Kate is complete without acknowledging the woman who bridged their worlds, Princess Diana. Diana challenged the royal mold by showing emotion, empathy, and accessibility. She hugged AIDS patients, comforted children in hospitals, and openly discussed her struggles. Her humanity changed how the public viewed the royal family, and her death in 1997 changed it forever. For Elizabeth, Diana's openness was unsettling. For Kate, it became a blueprint. Kate carries Diana's legacy quietly, not by imitation, but by evolution. She has taken Diana's empathy and refined it into structured purpose. Her causes, early childhood development, mental health, and family support, echo Diana's compassion, but with long-term strategy. She represents what the monarchy learned from its most painful chapter: that emotion, when channeled wisely, strengthens rather than weakens. Elizabeth's respect was inherited, but also earned through constancy. For 70 years, she never faltered in commitment. Her approval ratings remained among the highest for any global leader. Even those who questioned the monarchy admired her devotion. Kate's trust, however, is not automatic. She is judged not by her lineage, but by her actions. In an age when trust is fragile, she must continually prove relevance. That's why every project she launches, from early childhood initiatives to youth mental health programs, is deeply researched, data-backed, and visibly hands-on. She is building her legitimacy not on history, but on human impact. In many ways, Kate A.'s rise mirrors the shift from monarchy as a birthright to monarchy as a brand of service. The crown is no longer untouchable, it's accountable. And she represents that accountability with grace. Queen Elizabeth II was a symbol of Britain itself, stoic, dignified, unyielding. Her image was one of timeless grace, pearls, brooches, and perfectly chosen words. Her presence alone carried authority. When she visited a nation, flags were raised, streets were lined, and silence fell. She embodied power through quietness. Kate Middleton represents the rebranding of that image, approachable yet aspirational. She uses digital platforms not for self-promotion, but for visibility of causes. Her wardrobe choices often highlight local designers of the countries she visits, supporting cultural diplomacy. She is redefining royal influence not as command, but as connection. In the global lens, Elizabeth was the crown. Kate is the conversation around it. And that difference defines how the monarchy will be remembered in this century. Two women, two worlds, two ways of being royal. One kept her heart behind palace walls. The other opened it to the public. One ruled with silence, the other with empathy. But both understood the same truth. The strength of the monarchy lies not in the jewels it wears, but in the values it protects. As history moves forward, the world no longer asks whether the monarchy will survive. It asks, can it still inspire? And that answer rests on the woman preparing to wear the crown next. A crown may shine on its own, but in the modern world, it only survives through reflection. And that reflection comes from one place, the media. For Queen Elizabeth II, the camera was a tool of unity. For Kate Middleton, it's a test of survival. Because today every lens is not just watching, it's judging. When Elizabeth became queen in 1953, Britain was rebuilding itself. Television was new, black and white, cautious and polite. Her coronation was the first royal event ever broadcast to the public. More than 20 million people in the United Kingdom watched the young queen take her oath. It wasn't just a ceremony, it was the birth of a visual monarchy. That single broadcast changed how royalty existed. The crown was no longer distant, it was domestic. People didn't just hear of their queen, they saw her. For the first time, the monarchy entered living rooms, transforming the royal image from mystery into familiarity. And Elizabeth understood something crucial. Visibility was the new form of power, but she used it sparingly, protecting the thin line between exposure and overexposure. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth II mastered image control. Every appearance was planned, every word reviewed. Her photographs symbolized dignity, never intimacy. Even during crises, from the Suez Canal disaster to Princess Diana's death, she avoided reactionary responses. She believed that if the monarchy spoke too much, it would lose its weight. So she waited, watched, and acted when time demanded. But media itself was changing. By the late 20th century, journalism was faster, bolder, and more invasive. The tabloids no longer admired the crown, they chased it. Scandals, divorces, and drama became daily headlines. The monarchy, once untouchable, became entertainment. And for Elizabeth, that shift marked the beginning of a new challenge: to remain respected in a world obsessed with exposure. By the time Kate Middleton entered the royal spotlight, privacy was a myth. There were no black and white televisions, only smartphones and social media feeds that refreshed every second. Her introduction to the public wasn't through ceremony, but through paparazzi photographs from her university days. And since then, every chapter of her life has been documented, debated, and dissected online. Yet, Kate has managed something rare. She turned scrutiny into stability. Instead of reacting to every rumor, she remained composed. Instead of chasing headlines, she built a narrative of her own, centered on empathy, calmness, and purpose. In a digital age built on noise, her silence became her message. Social media changed everything. For Queen Elizabeth II, approval was measured by tradition. For Kate Middleton, it's measured by engagement. A photograph of her children can reach millions within minutes. Her speech can trend globally or be overshadowed by a single viral comment. The monarchy no longer controls the narrative, it negotiates it daily. Kate's strategy is subtle but deliberate. Her team releases curated family photos designed to balance privacy with connection. She engages with causes that generate positive public emotion: children, mental health, the environment. Every image, every post is part of a broader story, that the crown still belongs in the modern conversation. But with digital fame comes digital danger. Online abuse, misinformation, and speculation about her health or appearance have often turned compassion into cruelty. Yet through it all, her consistency has become her defense. Where the internet shouts, she remains steady, and that steadiness earns respect. In Queen Elizabeth II's era, respect came from distance. People didn't need to understand her, they just needed to believe in her. Her composure created mystery, and mystery built authority. Even when criticism arose, after Diana's death, for instance, she restored trust not by explaining but by enduring. For Kate, the equation has flipped. Authority now depends on relatability. The public no longer wants perfection, it wants personality. And that means every smile, every word, every outfit carries symbolic weight. She must be royal but reachable, polished but real. She is not just representing the crown, she is representing the possibility that the monarchy can still matter. Media coverage of both women reveals the monarchy's evolution through storytelling. Elizabeth's headlines were often about duty: Queen visits Commonwealth, Queen meets new Prime Minister, Queen endures nation's grief. Kates are about connection. Kate comforts bereaved family. Kate plays with children. Kate repeats outfit to highlight sustainability. It's the same institution, but with a different purpose. Elizabeth's image was static, strong, unchanging. Kate's image is dynamic, growing, adapting, engaging. And yet both carry the same silent rule: never lose control of your narrative. Because for the monarchy, perception isn't just publicity, it's survival. The power of silence remains the royal family's greatest tool. Elizabeth used it to preserve majesty. Kate uses it to maintain dignity. When controversies rise, whether about internal family tensions or media attacks, both women share the same instinct: restraint. In an age where outrage sells faster than truth, silence becomes strategy. And that strategy, paradoxically, keeps them relevant. The public fills silence with imagination, and imagination keeps the monarchy alive. Queen Elizabeth II was admired across generations and continents. Her image was a source of stability in uncertain times. Even republics respected her discipline. She was a monarch, but also a global stateswoman, the face of Britain's moral diplomacy. Kate Middleton, however, represents a new kind of soft power. Her global appeal is cultural, not constitutional. From Africa to Asia, her image as a grounded, graceful woman resonates with young audiences who don't necessarily follow royal traditions. She has turned the British monarchy into a story people still choose to follow, even when they question its purpose. And that, in a world of fleeting attention, is no small victory. From television screens to TikTok clips, the monarchy's greatest challenge has always been the same: to stay visible without becoming ordinary. Queen Elizabeth II built an image too grand to touch. Kate Middleton is building one the world can relate to. Between them lies the story of how royalty learned to survive in the age of opinion. But as media grows louder and the public grows sharper, one question remains: how long can the crown balance legacy with relevance before the line between monarchy and celebrity begins to blur? For centuries, the British monarchy stood like a lighthouse, unchanged, unmoved, and eternal. But today, that light flickers against the storm of modern values. Question after question rises. Why should monarchy still exist? What purpose does it serve? And can a crown still carry meaning in a world that no longer bows? In Queen Elizabeth II's youth, respect for monarchy was instinctive. It wasn't questioned, it was inherited. To criticize the royal family was to criticize Britain itself. But the 21st century broke that silence. Now loyalty is no longer automatic, it's earned. Generations raised in the digital era view monarchy differently. They see it through headlines, memes, and social movements. They question its wealth, its privilege, its tax-funded lifestyle. And while older generations saw the crown as stability, younger voices see it as symbolism, one that must prove its worth in modern society. The monarchy's challenge isn't just staying relevant, it's staying respected. For 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II acted as the monarchy's shield. Her constancy, discipline, and silence protected the institution from crumbling under public scrutiny. She never spoke politically, never publicly complained, and never wavered in her devotion to duty. When scandals erupted, she absorbed the shock and carried on. Her reign saw the monarchy through divorce, disaster, and decades of doubt. From the turmoil of the 1990s, marked by royal separations, public criticism, and Diana's death, to the scandals of the 2000s, she remained the calm eye of every storm. Her loyalty to duty gave the institution time to adapt, time to survive. But time, as always, changes everything. And with her passing in 2022, the monarchy lost its greatest armor, her reputation. When Queen Elizabeth II died, the world didn't just lose a monarch, it lost its symbol of continuity. The transition to King Charles III marked a generational shift, one that exposed both strength and fragility. The crown was now in the hands of a man who had spent decades in waiting and in the shadow of controversy. Public trust wavered. The younger generation saw the monarchy less as destiny and more as debate. The questions grew louder. Should Britain still have a monarchy? And if yes, what should it look like? In this fragile moment, one figure quietly became the anchor of reassurance: Kate Middleton. Kate's presence offers something the monarchy desperately needs: continuity wrapped in modernity. She represents stability without stiffness, humility without weakness. In every public appearance, she reminds the nation of what the monarchy can still offer: duty with a human face. Her image, often described as uncontroversial, is not accidental, it's strategic. She avoids politics, sidesteps conflict, and focuses on empathy-driven causes. Her popularity across demographics, from traditional royalists to younger skeptics, positions her as the monarchy's quiet unifier. Kate doesn't just carry the royal brand, she protects it. And in a world where public opinion can destroy institutions overnight, that quiet protection is powerful. Every institution faces storms, but few are as public as the royal families. From the controversies surrounding Prince Andrew to the explosive interviews given by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the royal image has endured constant trial by media. Accusations of outdated traditions, lack of diversity, and emotional detachment have shaken the monarchy's credibility. Through it all, Kate's approach has been deliberate: silence over statements. While others defend themselves in interviews, she defends the institution through consistency. Her focus never shifts to drama, it stays on duty. That restraint mirrors Elizabeth's strategy, but through a modern lens. Where Elizabeth's silence symbolized authority, Kate's silence symbolizes grace. The monarchy now faces questions it never had to answer before. Can it represent a diverse, inclusive Britain? Can it justify its cost to taxpayers? Can it adapt to a world where influence no longer comes from birthright but from purpose? Kate's role will be to address those questions not through speeches, but through example. Her projects reflect the monarchy's gradual pivot away from prestige toward participation. She champions mental health instead of luxury, child welfare instead of ceremony, sustainability instead of excess. Each cause is a step toward modernization, subtle but significant. If the monarchy's old language was tradition, Kate is teaching it a new one: relevance. The future of monarchy will not be decided by palaces, but by people, particularly the young. Surveys show that only around 30–35% of Britons under 30 believe the monarchy is important to the country's future. That number was nearly double during Elizabeth's prime. The decline is not hatred, it's indifference, and indifference is the monarchy's true threat. Kate's mission, whether she realizes it or not, is to rebuild emotional connection. Through relatable motherhood, visible compassion, and public service, she bridges generations. Older audiences see in her the continuity of Elizabeth's dignity. Younger audiences see a woman who could, in another life, be their neighbor. That relatability could decide the monarchy's fate. Globally, the monarchy's reach has also weakened. Several nations within the Commonwealth have begun discussions about becoming republics. Barbados made the move in 2021, and others, like Jamaica and Belize, are openly considering it. The days when the British monarch ruled a vast empire are gone. What remains now is symbolic leadership, a network held together by sentiment more than sovereignty. Kate's task in the years ahead will be to sustain that sentiment. Her soft diplomacy, cultural sensitivity, and global influence may become the monarchy's new diplomatic strength, a replacement for the empire's power with the influence of goodwill. In short, the monarchy may no longer rule nations, but it can still inspire them. To survive the century, the monarchy must decide to reform or to resist. Reform means transparency, modernization, and open dialogue. Resist means preserving the mystique that once gave it strength. Either choice carries risk. Too much change and it loses identity. Too little and it loses purpose. Elizabeth maintained balance through timelessness. Kate must do it through transformation. She stands at the fault line between two centuries, the old royal world of ceremony and the new public world of accountability. If she can bridge that divide, she won't just be the next queen. She'll be the one who redefined what being royal means. Every generation tests the monarchy. For Elizabeth, it was war and empire. For Charles, it is skepticism and scandal. For Kate, it will be relevance itself. The question isn't whether the monarchy can survive the modern world, it's whether it can deserve to. And as history has shown, the future of the crown has always rested not on those who inherit it, but on those who inspire belief in it. Kate Middleton may not wear the crown yet, but in the court of public opinion, her reign has already begun. Every crown tells a story. Elizabeth wrote hers in duty, Charles writes his in transition, and beyond them stands Kate Middleton, preparing to write hers in renewal. She isn't queen yet, but her shadow already stretches toward the throne. The monarchy no longer survives on birthright. It survives on belief. In a world that questions everything, trust has become the real crown, and Kate has earned it not through power, but through presence. She doesn't lecture, she listens, she doesn't seek headlines, she earns them. That quiet confidence has made her the most relatable royal of her generation, modern, approachable, yet unmistakably regal. For millions, she represents what monarchy could be. Not outdated, but evolving. Two women shape her destiny, Diana and Elizabeth. One ruled with emotion, the other with endurance. Kate stands between them, blending both. From Diana, she inherits warmth, the ability to connect without words. From Elizabeth, she inherits composure, the strength to stand firm when silence speaks louder than speeches. If Diana made the monarchy human, and Elizabeth made it lasting, Kate's role may be to make it relevant. Kate's leadership is quiet, built on empathy, not authority. Her focus on mental health, early education, and family life shows a shift from ceremony to impact. She represents purpose over pageantry. And that's exactly what the monarchy must become to survive the century. In an era where royal power is symbolic, she uses compassion as her influence. She turns visibility into value, making the crown mean something again. But her path won't be easy. The monarchy faces doubts about cost, diversity, and purpose. Republican voices are growing louder. The Commonwealth grows restless, and the world is watching whether monarchy can adapt and or vanish into nostalgia. Kate will inherit not just a throne, but a test to prove that monarchy still has meaning in modern times. If Elizabeth's strength was duty and Diana's gift was love, then Kate's legacy may be balance, the art of being royal and real at once. She doesn't need to reinvent the crown. She just needs to remind the world why it still matters. Through her calm, her compassion, and her quiet endurance, Kate Middleton may become the bridge between the monarchy's past and its only possible future. The crown has always survived by changing its face, but keeping its heart. And as one era fades into another, Kate stands ready, steady, silent, and sure. She may not wear the crown yet, but she already carries its weight, gracefully.